All right, so another quick one on F1. I was sitting here and waiting to pick up a buddy of mine from work, and I've been thinking a lot about, a lot of people made a lot of noise about Adrian Newey and Aston Martin and their ARM 26, I believe it is, and how uh, development wise and aerodynamic wise, it's very aggressive and looks a lot more developed than a lot of other cars. Several teams, I believe Mercedes, Ferrari, and even Aston Martin, have these interesting little cutout sections, essentially just forward of the rear brake duct at the end of the floor, to what appears to be inject a lot of high energy air coming from the undercut of the side pods to essentially power up the diffuser. Um, you could think of it as a passive blown diffuser. If you remember the blown diffuser days, I believe Red Bull did back in, I don't know, 20 years ago. Well, the interesting part about that is the whole reason to do that is because the air that's going underneath the car is very low energy. By the time it gets under the car, it's a lot of wash, it's a lot of tire squirt, it's all of these things. So by powering up the rear of the diffuser or the exit of the diffuser with higher energy air, it helps to suck that air out so that you essentially don't get effectively an aerodynamic stall. Well, there's another way to do pressure. Okay, and one of the things in the blown diffuser, it wasn't just the force of the exhaust going basically past the diffuser, it was also the temperature, because that's the other way to change the pressure of airflow or water or any fluid for that matter. Um, Little side note, I'll give you an example. I work at a golf course, and a lot of people don't realize this, but frost usually doesn't set in until about an hour before sunrise, and it has to be clear, meaning no cloud cover. The reason is we live on a sphere, and as the sun starts to crest a horizon that's beyond our field of view, or basically beyond the curvature of the Earth, it starts to heat the upper atmosphere. Okay, when that heats up, it expands. When that expands, it sucks air up from beneath it, therefore changing the temperature. More importantly, it changes the internal temperature of the blade of grass, and that's what frost is. It's freezing from the inside out, which is why it can be so damaging to grass and crops and all this other stuff. Well, in a similar sense, a blown diffuser, not only would it be the force of the air, which in and of itself is high energy, but the temperature would make a difference too, because it's going to make that how you extract energy out of air is just like electricity or a lot of other things. There's got to be a potential difference. So if you have a temperature differential, you now have an energy potential. So by blowing hot air as well as clean air at a higher velocity over the rear of the diffuser, you now have increased the potential for it to essentially, I guess, be more active like a blown diffuser. Well, on the Aston Martin, they've got these big gill slits on the side of it, which obviously are for cooling. But Adrian Newey, being the genius he is, and designs everything to work as a beautiful symphony, has got them angled in such a way that it appears that there will be a temperature differential, because a lot of that hot air is going to come out and basically go right down the Coke bottle, right over the top of the diffuser, and therefore will add basically more potential to pull that air out from underneath the car, which might also explain the higher rake that they have. It allows more mixing and whatnot. And I don't know all the terms from the aero industry, but food for thought.